ranking every NFL Super Bowl champ since 2010 by Aura.
The dynasty continues,
and the confetti rains down on the field.
The Super Bowl belongs to the city of New Orleans. They're great fans.
All right, now starting in 2010, I mean, if there is going to be any team that just has aura and personally is one of my favorites because, well, I am a Saints fan, it's going to be the New Orleans Saints. And of course, yes, I am biased, but hear me out at least as to why I'm going to rank them this way. Now in 2010, they were coming off of a rebuilding year after Hurricane Katrina, and I mean, this squad carried the entire weight of New Orleans on their shoulders. Drew Brees was absolutely unstoppable as he completed 70.6% of his passes for 4,338 yards, 34 touchdowns, and just 11 interceptions. And I mean, along with Pierre Thomas and my favorite player of all time, Reggie Bush, and I mean, even the offensive line, it turned the ground game into a massive weapon while Marquise Colston and Devery Henderson kept defenses guessing. That offensive line too had 3 Pro Bowlers all holding it down together, and then on defense, I mean, Jonathan Vilma, Darren Sharper, and Tracy Porter were constantly swinging momentum and combining for multiple turnovers and touchdowns a game. And then when we get to the playoff run that they had, I mean, the playoff run in 2010 that they had was just absolutely electric. First, they had 45 points against the defending NFC champion Cardinals, and then there was that nail-biter game in the NFC Championship game where Tracy Porter's interception sent it to overtime against the Vikings, and then Pierre Thomas set up the game-winning kick. And I mean, honestly, this team, it just worked. And really, in overtime, that's when the magic was starting too. They had touchdowns, interceptions, returned for scores, and Brees just himself orchestrated a show that would cement his place in the history books. And then, of course, we get to the Super Bowl, and like, it was just an absolute masterclass of a Super Bowl and just one of the all-time greats. I mean, they come out down 10-6 at halftime, and Sean Payton calls the most audacious play you'll ever see in a championship game, an onside kick to open the second half, and then, of course, the Tracy Porter interception on Peyton Manning to send the game and just ice it completely, and, of course, Drew Brees holding his kid, holding the Super Bowl trophy. It's an all-timer, S++ tier without a doubt.
Congratulations, Green Bay Packers world champions, Super Bowl 45.
Now, the 2011 Green Bay Packers were absolutely loaded with talent. I mean, they were led by Aaron Rodgers, who threw for 3,922 yards, 28 touchdowns, and just 11 interceptions that season too. They finished the regular season 10-6, but then they were absolutely just red hot during the playoffs and became the first 6 seed in NFC history to reach the Super Bowl. I mean, Rodgers himself was just absolutely surgical this postseason, carving up Atlanta with 366 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in that divisional round, and then guided a gritty 21-14 win over the Bears in the NFC Championship. And then in the Super Bowl, Green Bay jumped out to a 14-0 lead with a Jordy Nelson touchdown and a Nick Collins pick 6, and they eventually beat the Steelers 31-25, and Rodgers finished with 304 yards and 3 touchdowns, and even earned the MVP honors in that Super Bowl. It really wasn't anything special, but it was A-Rod's first and only ring, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a B tier.
Congratulations to the New York Giants, your 3rd world championship. The New York Giants are once again world champs.
Now, going to the 2012 Super Bowl and the Super Bowl champs being the New York Giants, I mean, they had absolutely no right being in the Super Bowl in the first place. They finished the season 9-7 and then barely got even into the playoffs. The Patriots on the other side, though, were a 13-3 juggernaut stacked with Tom Brady throwing for 5,235 yards and 39 touchdowns. Rob Gronkowski was setting tight end records, and even Wes Welker led the league with 122 catches. But that's the thing, the Giants, they thrived on being overlooked, and throughout the entire playoffs and really the entire season, it was on full display. 2 field goals in the 3rd quarter closed a 17-9 deficit, and then an 88-yard drive ended with Bradshaw's game-winning touchdown with under a minute left, and Eli finished 30-40 for 296 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions, and the MVP award. For this one, gotta go S tier.
Okay, Baltimore fans, this is what you were waiting for. 5 straight playoff appearances, and now you reach the mountaintop. Congratulations on a great championship. The Ravens are world champions.
Now, with the 2013 Baltimore Ravens, they were just the full definition of when experience meeting opportunity. I mean, even after that painful 2011 AFC Championship loss, they came back with a roster stacked with playoff vets. Joe Flacco had threw for a career-high 3,817 yards and 22 touchdowns, while Ray Rice rushed for 1,143 yards and added 61 catches for 478 yards. Jacoby Jones turned special teams into a weapon with 38 kickoff returns for 1,106 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 108-yard Super Bowl record return. Even defensively, like they had Haloti Ngata and Terrell Suggs anchored a line that pressured quarterbacks relentlessly, and then on the back end they had Ed Reed and Ray Lewis that led a secondary that forced key turnovers throughout the entire playoffs. Like this team handled adversity in real time, including a 34-minute Superdome blackout because of Beyonce's halftime performance, and even held off a ferocious 49ers comeback to win this Super Bowl 34-31. Without a doubt, an A-tier Super Bowl.
To Coach Carroll and his team, what an incredible performance. Dominated all the way. Congratulations, world champion.
Now in 2014 though, that's when Peyton Manning was at his absolute peak, you could argue. The Broncos became the highest ever scoring team in NFL history with 606 points, 55 touchdowns, and they were led by 5-time MVP Peyton Manning. And in the Super Bowl II, they found themselves in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. And at the same time that Peyton Manning was at his peak, the Legion of Boom at the same time too was in their peak. Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor all terrorized offenses all year long, and Seattle led the league in points allowed, takeaways, and yards allowed per game, as they were the first team to do that since the 1985 Bears, who topped all 3 categories as well. That's the thing, from the first snap, Seattle set the tone. Cliff Averill scored a safety 12 seconds in, and that was the fastest Super Bowl score ever at the time. Malcolm Smith even returned an interception 69 yards for a touchdown, and by halftime, it was 22-0. Denver didn't find the end zone even until the 3rd quarter alone. Like overall, this Super Bowl was just absolutely brutal for the Broncos as it ended 43-8, and because of that, I'm gonna have to give it a B tier, not because of how good the Legion of Boom was, but because of just kind of how much of a blowout this Super Bowl was.
Congratulations to the Patriots and their fans. Robert, Jonathan, Coach Belichick, and your organization, this is now 4 Super Bowl champions in 14 years. Incredible record. Congratulations. The Lombardi Trophy is going back to New England.
Now, a year later, though, the Seahawks found themselves back on the big stage, this time facing Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. The 2015 Patriots were really a tricky team. I mean, they weren't the biggest, fastest, or most intimidating on paper. 5-7 blowout against the Colts, and finally, the Super Bowl against Seattle. And I mean, honestly, through the first 3 quarters of this Super Bowl II, it seemed like Seattle was really in control of this game. But then came the 4th quarter, and that's when Tom Brady did Tom Brady things, and he absolutely just started dissecting the Legion of Boom. Like, Gronk and Edelman were catching everything in sight, but don't get me wrong, Seattle, they fought back, but they found themselves at the 1-yard line with a chance to win the game, and I mean, all they had to do was put it in their star running back's hands. So yeah, legendary for sure, but overall, I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a B tier because of really just the decision to not run the ball here when that's what you should have done, Pete Carroll.
Peyton, I don't know if this is your last rodeo, but it was one heck of a ride, and we all thank you for the ride. So thank you. You're Super Bowl champs. Congratulations.
Now, 2015, though, with the Denver Broncos, honestly might be one of the strangest champions on this list. I mean, they won Super Bowl 50 24-10 over a 15-1 Carolina Panthers team led by Cam Newton, and on paper that does sound legendary, but when you peel back the layers, it just isn't. Like, Peyton Manning at this point too was 39, and his season reflected how old he was. He had 9 touchdown passes and 17 interceptions, which was his worst since his rookie year. On top of that too, he missed 6 games with a foot injury, and he even lost his starting job mid-season to Brock Osweiler, who filled in for Manning while he was nursing his injury. I mean, even in fact, Manning threw for just 141 yards and no touchdowns and 1 interception in this Super Bowl alone. But that's the thing. He had the Denver Broncos defense, and unironically, they probably were just the complete opposite of how good this offense was. They were just unstoppable on defense. Like, under Wade Phillips, Denver built an absolute nightmare. They led the league in total yards allowed, passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, and sacks. The secondary alone called itself the no-fly zone, and for good reason. Von Miller was terrorizing quarterbacks all season long, and he turned the Super Bowl into his personal highlight reel. 2 strip sacks on Cam Newton, 1 setting up a touchdown, and the other sealing the game. It's crazy too because Carolina was averaging over 30 points per game in the regular season, and they were held to just 10 in this Super Bowl. It felt like the end of an era and a final curtain call for Peyton Manning and a transitional moment for this franchise as a whole. And really because of that, I'm gonna have to go ahead and give it a D tier.
Congratulations to your organization, to your fans, to your community. We're so proud of you. Take your Super Bowl trophy home to New England.
Now, the New England Patriots faced the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl 51. For a while in this game too, it looked like the script was written for Atlanta. I mean, by the middle of the third quarter, they were ahead 28-3, Julio Jones was looking unstoppable, and Matt Ryan was in his MVP form. Like, even the Patriots defense, despite a Pro Bowl core featuring Dante Hightower, Devin McCourty, and Malcolm Butler, just could not get a stop when it mattered. Then something just subtle, unmistakable. It was 28-3. We all know what happens here. We've seen it. It's crazy. Do I need to say more? Like, they ran 93 plays. Brady threw for 466 yards, the most in Super Bowl history at the time, and White scored 3 touchdowns. And then there was that Edelman catch. Inches from the turf, triple covered, and yet somehow he caught the damn ball. The Patriots erased the largest deficit in Super Bowl history, forced overtime for the first time in Super Bowl history, and then scored the first possession touchdown to claim the championship. And because of all of that, it is without a doubt an S-tier Super Bowl.
What an amazing turnaround for your organization and your fans. Congratulations and enjoy your first Lombardi Trophy in Philadelphia.
Now, a year later, though, the Super Bowl wasn't just a championship. Rather, it was more of like a movie script. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles were one of the best teams headed into the playoffs, and they were led by Carson Wentz, the MVP frontrunner, with 3,296 yards, 33 touchdowns, a 101.9 passer rating. But then in December, Wentz goes down with an ACL tear, and their season's over. Or at least most people thought so. That is until Nick Foles showed up. Nobody expected him to carry this team, but that's exactly what happened. In the NFC Championship game, the Eagles crushed the Vikings 38-7, and then came the Super Bowl against Tom Brady and against the dynasty. Foles threw for 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, and on a 4th and goal, he caught a touchdown pass himself. A trick play, a backup quarterback, and an unforgettable Super Bowl moment, and the now famous Philly special. And even when Brady tried to rally late, Brandon Graham strip-sacked him and called the ball game. Like, this team wasn't supposed to survive losing their star quarterback. They weren't even supposed to outscore a dynasty. Yet fearless play calling, backup quarterback magic, a dominant line, and a relentless defense made it look inevitable. Because of all of that, S++ tier.
17 years ago, the Patriots won their first Super Bowl. This now makes 6 of these trophies that the Patriots have, and 3 out of the last 5. Congratulations to you and Jonathan. The Patriots are Super Bowl champs once again.
Okay, so now for 2019 though, I'm not even gonna cap right now. It's an F-tier Super Bowl because, well, it's honestly probably one of the most forgettable Super Bowls in the modern era. Like, the New England Patriots beat the Rams 13-3 in Super Bowl 53, and I mean, that's all you need to say, 13-3. It was the lowest scoring Super Bowl ever, 0 touchdowns throughout 3 quarters, and for most of the night, honestly, it felt like nobody wanted to take control of this game. And let's not make a mistake either. This was a pretty elite team that the Patriots had. Like, New England's defense held one of the league's top offenses to just 260 total yards, confusing Jared Goff all night long. Stephon Gilmore then sealed it with a game-clinching interception, and the Patriots were the definition of disciplined, efficient, and opportunistic. Even during the regular season though, they went 11-5 and they stumbled early, losing back-to-back games to the Jags and Lions, and it was their first multi-losing start season since 2002. I mean, even in the playoffs too, it was the same story. They grinded past the Chargers 41-28 and survived a crazy overtime with the Chiefs 37-31, but neither game felt like a statement win. And yes, Tom Brady earned his 6th ring and Bill Belichick out-schemed Sean McVay, but destiny, magic, energy, I mean, really, it was just nowhere to be found throughout this Super Bowl and is again an F-tier Super Bowl.
What a incredible performance. We're so proud of you. You are going to take this trophy home after 50 years to your great fans. You are Super Bowl champions. Congratulations to your entire organization.
But now in 2020, this Chiefs team, it was a completely different story. Patrick Mahomes' arm could literally rewrite reality. Travis Kelce's unmatched route running was just, as I said, unmatched, and Tyreek Hill had game-breaking speed. And I mean, even in the Super Bowl II against the 49ers in Super Bowl 54, they started a little bit slow. I mean, San Francisco's defense absolutely swarmed Mahomes, forcing hurried throws and 2 costly interceptions, and Kansas City even trailed 20-10 entering the 4th quarter, and for a moment, it felt like history might actually slip away. Then Mahomes did what Mahomes did and sparked a comeback. 2 touchdown drives in rapid succession, Damian Williams breaking free for a 38-yard score, Kelce hauling in the go-ahead touchdown, and suddenly a 50-year championship drought was ending. Mahomes finished with 286 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing score, and Hill had 105 receiving yards, and the Chiefs became the first team to ever erase a 10-point deficit in 3 playoff games that same season. So because of that, I have to rank this one as a B tier overall.
To the entire Glazier family, congratulations. Congratulations, Coach Arians, to a great organization, great players. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is staying in Tampa Bay.
Now, a year later, though, the Chiefs were back in the Super Bowl facing off against the Bucs, and Tom Brady, who was at 43 years old, stepped into a new locker room, reunited with Rob Gronkowski, and found his weapons in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, in a balanced backfield led by playoff Lenny and Ronald Jones II. I mean, then on the other side of the ball, the defense was just as stacked. Shaquille Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Ndamukong Suh led a line that terrified quarterbacks, while Devin White and Levante David commanded the middle with a mix of speed, strength, and footballing IQ. I mean, hell, even the back end of the secondary was stacked too with rookie Antonio Winfield Jr., and they added a fresh disruptive element in him too. And I mean, that defense too put on an absolute clinic in Super Bowl 55 as Kansas City managed just 9 points, failing to score a single touchdown. Offensively too, Brady threw 3 touchdowns to 3 different players in a dominant 31-9 win as he earned his 7th and final Super Bowl ring on a different team let alone, and because of that, I gotta give it an A tier overall.
You built the world's greatest stadium. You brought together the greatest players and coaches. And now you've won Super Bowl 56. Congratulations. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is staying in Rams' house.
Now in 2022 though, this roster that the Rams put together literally in what felt like one season, it was just a roster built for dominance and built to win a Super Bowl right then and there, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, Matthew Stafford alone after 12 playoff-less seasons suddenly looked elite, completing 67.2% of his passes for 4,886 yards, 41 touchdowns, and career highs across the board. Cooper Kupp led the league in receptions with 145, yards with 1,947, and touchdowns with 16, who was the first Triple Crown winner since 2005, and turned the Super Bowl winning drive into an absolute highlight reel for himself with multiple 4th down conversions in the game-winning touchdown. And then, of course, on defense, you have Aaron Donald, possibly one of the greatest, if not the greatest defensive lineman of all time, who is just absolutely a wrecking ball in the trenches, recording 12.5 sacks while teamed up with Von Miller, added 5 more after joining mid-season. OBJ and Tyler Higbee stepped up when injuries hit, and Sony Mitchell carried the rushing load with 845 yards, and even the special teams were elite as Matt Gay had led the league with a 94.1% field goal rate. In that Super Bowl II, they faced the Bengals, a team that had won only the 2 playoff games in the previous 31 years, and Cincinnati fought back with Jamar Chase's 201-yard game and Evan McPherson's clutch kicks, but Stafford and Kupp answered every single challenge and finished with a 23-20 victory. And it was a miraculous underdog story, but it was a masterclass in roster construction, star talent, and execution at the highest level. Because of that, A-tier Super Bowl.
Everybody, to the fans, it doesn't get any better than that. Reflective of the entire 2022 season. Coach Reid, your entire organization, those incredible players behind us, you are Super Bowl champions again. Congratulations.
Now, just 2 years away from being the Super Bowl, the Chiefs were back. Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,250 yards and 41 touchdowns in the regular season and added 354 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns as well, setting the NFL record for combined passing and rushing yards in a season. And I mean, even at that point too, this team was just untouchable. The Eagles tried to push back at every single turn, scoring almost as freely as the Chiefs were and making every touchdown feel like a hard-earned battle. But part of what made this matchup feel so intense was the history and storylines layered on top of it. Andy Reid faced his former team. This was the first Super Bowl with 2 black starting quarterbacks, and the Kelsey brothers were also lining up across from each other. And that's the thing too, even while Mahomes was dazzling, he even limped through moments of uncertainty with a re-aggravated ankle injury. I mean, this team was just filled with talent, but unlike some of their previous displays, the aura wasn't untouchable, and on top of that too, the pass interference call was a little questionable and really kind of made me rank this one a little bit lower than it maybe should have, so I'm going to go with the B tier for this one. Now, a year later though, the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs were different. Patrick Mahomes threw for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception in the Super Bowl, earning his 3rd MVP, and Travis Kelce made key catches, but the offense just wasn't as dominant as it was in years past. Defensively though, Chris Jones and George Karlaftis combined for 21 sacks in the season, but the Chiefs still gave up big plays in the Super Bowl, letting the 49ers hang around until overtime. The game came down to Harrison Butker's 57-yard field goal and Mahomes' 75-yard overtime drive, capped off by Mecole Hardman sneaking into the end zone on a game-winning touchdown. And sure, they won, but this marked the beginning of their downfall because a year later, they would miss the playoffs entirely. So honestly, this Super Bowl was pretty okay. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and give it a C tier.
Congratulations to you, your organization, the coaches, the players. An amazing performance tonight. Take the Vince Lombardi home to Philadelphia.
Now, the 2025 Eagles, though, they felt completely different from the 2018 squad that won a Super Bowl. I mean, there was just no chaos, no flashes of luck. This was just pure control. The offensive line was anchored by Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata in bully defenses. Jalen Hurts had finally broken out, and Saquon Barkley was an absolute beast. Their defense on the other side too was Vic Fangio's defense and was literally just so terrifying. They had so many damn pass rushers in Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, and they never let Mahomes breathe. And I mean, on top of that too, you have the rookie Cooper DeJean, who made history with a 38-yard pick six, who was the second rookie ever to do that in the Super Bowl. And I mean, even flash forward by the 3rd quarter, the scoreboard told the story. 34 points unanswered, and the Chiefs were chasing shadows. Without a doubt, an A-tier Super Bowl in my personal opinion.
To you and your organization, to John, to Coach, to your entire organization, these great players, congratulations on the Super Bowl win. Take it back to Seattle, you're Super Bowl champs.
Now, going forward to 2026, though, in this most recent Super Bowl, it had been over a decade after that goal line heartbreak, and we got the Seattle-New England rematch that everybody wanted. The first 3 quarters were pretty quiet. I mean, Jason Myers drilled 4 field goals, keeping Seattle ahead while New England struggled to find an answer, and then the 4th quarter hit. Kenneth Walker began pounding the rock, moving the chains, and Sam Darnold played clean, precise football with 0 turnovers. And the defense, the dark side, they finally struck. A 45-yard pick six by Uchenna Nwosu, and that sealed the deal. That year, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Rashid Shaheed, and all the new faces clicked instantly. And by the final whistle, the revenge tour for Sam Darnold was complete. And because of the storylines and just this team overall, I'm going to go ahead and rank it an A-tier Super Bowl. But as always, let me know what you guys would say down below for what Super Bowl was ranked to most aura, to least aura, or where I missed maybe. Just let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.